everybody. I'm George Williams. I am the Next Search Catalog Coordinator for Northeast Kansas Library System, and with me, as always,
is Christopher Brannon from the Coeur d'Alene Public Library and the Cooperative Information Network.
So if we're doing a video, it must be Thursday. So today we're going to talk about using Mailto links in reports. And this is a feature that I've been using for a while, and we kind of talked about it very briefly in a previous video where we were talking about a SQL report. And so Christopher's gonna show us that report and show us how he builds Mailto links.
This video is sponsored by koha-US, your place to look for all things Koha. Whether you're just starting out with Koha or you've been with Koha for a while, koha-US is a great place to find resources, learn new tips and techniques, or connect with other users and libraries. Koha-US provides excellent information, both original and curated from around the internet, including the terrific Every Other Day training videos. You will also find several special interest groups to connect with, as well as our general monthly meeting where we gather to talk about the latest Koha news. You should also check out the koha-US annual conference, held at various locations around the US. This is a great opportunity to meet with other users face-to-face, and build your Koha network, as well as new friendships. And of course, don't forget about the great presentations. Koha-US is also actively involved in the Koha community by contributing towards new developments. If you are interested in contributing towards Koha-US funded developments, join the Koha-US membership. Your annual membership builds the funds to sponsor new developments in the community, and as a member, you also help shape Koha-US with your membership votes, and receive a discount on the annual conference. You can also contribute towards developments through a direct donation, or by purchasing some great koha-US merchandise through our Threadless account. Visit us at koha-us.org to find out more.
Right. I did show a report a while back, either at the conference or in one of our previous videos, about a report that lets me know when some of our devices like hotspots and Chromebooks are overdue, because I need to go in there and manually deactivate them. And through that report, I like to be able to email the patron, let them know what we've done, why it's not working anymore.
Right. So
I emailed them, and in that process, it was like, okay, I know I can put links in reports. We've linked to all sorts of things, different pages, different sites,
different reports,
and
yeah.
We can also link to email addresses. And I have known for years that I can create a link for an email address, and it'll start an email with that address there. But it wasn't until this report I realized, oh wow, I can stick more in there besides just the who it's being sent to. So now I did some investigating and figured out, oh, I can populate the subject, I can populate the body, and apparently you can populate the CC and the BCC as well.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to do all of that today, but I'm going to show you some of the basics of what I did. And I grabbed some of that report. I just stripped out this particular portion of it, and I put it on our test server so that I can show everyone how that actually works. So I'm going to go ahead and bring that up and take a look. So I have the report here, and this one is just, like I said, it's just a small portion of a report that I use. But what is happening here, I'm joining a bunch of tables to get the information that I need. But basically, I'm in this report, I'm just going to look for items that are overdue, things that are 2 or more days overdue in this case, and don't have a damage code. Meaning, normally, when I'm using this, I am looking for things that I haven't already marked as damaged, or in our case, on our system, I have a special damage status of deactivated. So I show that I actually deactivated that item. So I'll look to make sure I haven't deactivated it, and it'll show up in this report. So I'm looking for that information, but I'm isolating this particular report to a specific borrower. So I'm not getting a bunch of extra stuff that I don't want to show in the video.
Right.
So I'm limiting it to this specific borrower or patron that I know has an overdue that meets the criteria. So the magic all happens in this select statement up here. So before we get into what's happening in this, let's take a look at what this report actually does. So I'm getting 2 hits on this. It's showing items that were due more than 2 days ago. It gives me a link to the barcode. So if I wanted to go into that item, I could click it, and I'm actually at the item. And I specifically link to this page because often I'll need to go from here to the item and change that status. So this takes me right to where I need
Right.
to change that status. But the other link that I have in here is for this patron. So their card number's there, their name, and their email address. And when I click the email address, it's going to pop up on the wrong screen. I bring it over here. Can you see that?
Yep.
Okay. So it populates an email for me with their email address. It gives me a subject, in this case, what the item is and saying that it's overdue, and then a pre-configured message. In this message, it includes the title of the item. And most of the messages is pretty static, but this message is dynamic with the name of the item, both in the message and in the subject. And then also the branch is dynamic. So it knows what branch this item is from, basically. You can have it from the circling branch or whatever. We're in this particular instance, I am pointing at the item's home branch. So let's look a little bit more at how this message or this report works.
Right.
So I am doing a huge concat on this. The report, if you looked at the top of the report, it's called the reports.
There's only one column, right?
One column in this case, yes. So that column is called overdue report. So I am concatenating all of this information in here. So a lot of this, it's not just the link, it's everything that is in that result. And so I have the div here that shows me the due date, the barcode. So all the information I need to know about that particular item. But where we need to look a little bit further, in fact, so there's an if statement here. It's looking that if their email address exists. So basically, if the email address is not blank, it's going to fill in this portion. So if there's no email address, it's not even going to give me the link.
Okay.
So in this portion, it's looking to see if the email address exists there. And if it does, then it's going to concat this information. So here's where we start concating. We have a section here. This piece before the first comma is the start of the link and the href and the mail to.
Right.
This is something that we're all familiar with. And then in the next comma section, it's going to put in that email address. And
it's grabbing the email address from Koha.
What's that?
So it's grabbing the email address straight from Koha.
From that borrower, in this case, yeah,
yep.
B2 there, the table. So it's grabbing their primary email address, and then it's going to put in the next comma section, it's putting in a question mark and subject equals, and then the next comma section has the title. So the title is the subject of this particular email.
Right.
Then I'm adding after that the word overdue. So it's not very obvious here, but when you look at the subject line, it's the title, and then the next section is then it says overdue. And so, the first parameter after the email is a question, is led by a question mark, but then the following parameters are led with an ampersand. So in this case, it's going to be an ampersand and the word body. So now I'm defining what's going to be in the body. And then I start off with their first name and then the content of the email. Now, there are some codes in here for breaking up or formatting that body. I can't use HTML, so I had to use the percent codes. So I had to go look up percent codes to format the way I needed it to. So basically, they have their first name, and then I wanted to start the message or the body of the email after their first name, kind of like a letter format. So
Yeah, and I just to include in the video, I just sent you a link to a document that explains what the percent encoding is.
awesome, thank you.
Yeah, that way people don't have to go out there and search it on their own. They can just go to that document and see how to create the percent codes, because it's just another piece that's really helpful to know when you're playing around with HTML and URLs in particular.
Absolutely. So these codes are pushing us down a couple lines, and then here's the start of my text. We're writing to let you know that, and then I insert the title is overdue. Please return it as soon as possible so that others may also enjoy using it. And then some more codes to go down further.
To add a line break. Yeah.
Line breaks, yeah. If you have already returned this item, you may disregard this notice. Skipping down some more, sincerely, skipping down more, and then I'm inserting the branch name, in this case, the table branch 3 or B3, which is branches, which is tied to the home branch of that item in this case. So you can, if you wanted it the circ library, you could certainly do that. If you
right.
it just if you want it static, you can put it static in there. So that's the gist of it, and then it ends that link. And then there's some further information that is included having to do with the patron's phone number and so forth in there. But that is the gist of it. If you wanted to include the CC or the BCC, I'm assuming that it's you would add an ampersand CC equals and an ampersand BCC equals. That's my assumption.
Yeah.
I haven't used those, but
there is a good. Well, there are two documents that I found when we decided we were going to talk about this. One is the full Mailto specification, and it's like the detailed. I didn't look at it closely enough, but it looks like it's about 18 pages long, that explains all of the technical specifications of how to do this. But then I found another one that's just that I also included the link for, that's like the easy how-to. You don't need to know all of the specification to understand how to put one of these together.
I would imagine too, if you can specify the subject and body and CC and BCC, I would assume that you could also specify the reply to.
That one I don't think you can. I think
Really?
the limits are Mailto, subject, CC, BCC, and body.
Huh, that's surprising.
Yeah, those are the only ones that are listed in the specification.
Okay.
And it's, that being said, I haven't completely 100% read it, because like I said, it's like 18 pages long.
Yeah.
But yeah, there aren't as many as you would think. There aren't as many as there are fields possible in an email. But it's got a lot of them. It covers a lot. The other thing I'd say, the other thing you have to know if you're going to do this is you have to have your computer set up with a default email with a default email program,
Right.
which isn't that hard. And there's actually, I found another document that's how to configure your default email on your computer. I use Firefox, and so one of the easy things you can do is just go into Firefox and go to settings, and it's in if you just search Mailto, if you have a Mailto configured, it's in your applications in Firefox, and you can just scroll down and it says for my computer Mailto, I use Thunderbird for my email, so it just needs to say whatever your email default is there, and there's even a drop down. You can use Yahoo Mail or Gmail or Outlook or whatever it is you want to do. It's pretty easy to configure. It's a more opaque process in Chrome, but if you're using Windows, you just have to go to the Windows settings and tell it what your default email is, what your default email program is, and then that handles 90% of the work right there too.
So I wasn't clear on that. So do you have to have an app installed on your computer that it can point to, or can it point to web-based?
It can point to web-based, yeah.
Awesome.
If you configure your computer and your browser that way, if the browser needs extra support, and that's why I sent that document that's that we'll have a link to in the video. So if you click on a Mailto link and nothing happens, that could be your problem, is that you don't have, or more likely what'll happen is you'll click on it and instead of nothing happening, there'll be a Windows message or a message from your Mac saying you don't have a default email program configured. But I will show you, this is also something that I've been using, and I use it a little. I'm using it for one of our reports that every library is supposed to check once a week, and that's our missing in transit report. So if you run your missing in transit report in NextSearch catalog, and you get this result back where it's got, this item is the Nichols items that go missing all the time are the Storywalk items, because most libraries forget to check them out when they get to their library. But it's, this Storywalk, it's like a for sale sign in front of your house. And we have a whole, we have a set of books that, libraries can borrow those from us and set up a route in their community where you can walk from sign to sign and read a whole children's picture book.
Mm-hmm.
But this one, You Will Be My Friend, has been in transit, wow, since August. That seems a little crazy. But if somebody is looking for that and at the Nichols office, and we want to contact the library that has it, we just click on this send button, and it's the same thing. It's an email, Mailto, and it populates the to and the CC, and it's emails this who owns it, who shipped it, and who was supposed to receive it, because potentially those could all be 3 different libraries. And then it pulls in all of this data from the bib record and the item record, and then it pulls in this data from the branch transfers. And so it's doing basically the same thing that you did, just with a different kind of report. And I had the same issue where I had to learn all those percent codes.
Yeah.
That one's a line break. All of that stuff is what it takes to get a line break. But I will get this report on the wiki so we can link to it to have some good examples. I need to customize. I've customized it a little bit just for Next, and I need to take those customizations out to make it useful for any library.
Right.
But yeah, this is the Mailto is a really useful thing to be able to do in a report.
Right. And you showed in a video a while back some modifications where you used you repurposed fields in the branch for different
right
of information for libraries. But boy, wouldn't it be nice if there were some standardized fields in those branches where we could specify this this is the director, this is the circulation manager, this is the ILL, this is, cataloging or whatever, so that if you wanted to have links and dynamically point to those people, you could easily do that and not have to cheat your way around in pointing to those addresses and names.
Yeah, I had actually suggested at one point in time, you know how we have patron extended attributes, it would be nice to have library extended attributes where you could say in the library record, these are a way to create custom fields for those library records would be a nice feature to have. And I think that I asked our support provider, Bywater Solutions, for a quote on that at one time, and they thought it would be a pretty big development, and it was one that I didn't want to pursue at the time. It was one that we had other priorities that we wanted to pursue, so we didn't do that. So, but that would, just like adding information to the patron record, it would be nice to have a set of variables that you could, a set of fields that you could, maybe you need, for us, one of the fields that we repurposed was country, because all of our libraries in the USA, we don't have any, we don't need a special place to put the country in. So I repurposed it for the Kansas Library Courier's Courier library number. Each library on the Courier has a separate number, and so I repurposed that. But that's a field that not every library is going to need.
Right.
So what if Koha just had a way to add extra fields to the library record, like the patron extended attributes?
That would be awesome.
Yeah. We just need to figure out how to do that, how to either fund it, or we need to learn how to code so we can do it ourselves.
You need to also know if there's enough interest in it. So
yeah, if there's enough interest in it. So
if one library wants it and not everybody else, makes it a little harder.
Yeah. So
unless you have a lot of money to throw at it.
Yeah, which I don't. So I don't know if my Mega Millions ticket hit this last weekend. So that's like my one bad habit is my $2 a month, $2 a week on lottery tickets.
All right. Well, I hope people find this helpful. I learned something in this process with my report, always trying to take something a step further. And this was really useful to me. It makes my workflow a lot easier. Especially emailing, and I'm sure you have found that to be the same for your links that you've included in your reports. So we'd love to hear back from folks if you found this useful, or if you've taken this any further. Please let us know in comments. Otherwise, we'll see everybody again in 2 weeks.
See y'all later.